Hi there and welcome to Playing with Junk, and today I have some medical junk. And as you have seen in the title of the video, this is a pretty expensive piece of junk. Unfortunately, the motor here is broken. It doesn't turn as it should. It works, but yeah, it's not very useful anymore in this state. They cleaned up the stock of our medical maintenance department, and I found that in the trash bin. And I want to show you because there are some very interesting technical features, especially in this area here. And I have never seen that before, and I'm pretty sure you have never seen that also. So let's have a look inside and see how this beautiful Swiss-made power drive from Synthes medical technology is actually built. There is some technical data. We have a 12-volt battery, 750 RPM, that's here on this side after the reduction gear. And first we can simply break that in two parts. This one is the battery part, and you see here everything looks like it comes from a gun or something like that. It's metal, except the case, that's plastic. Battery, do not sterilize. Yes, batteries don't like that because first of all they don't like moisture, and second they don't like the heat. Sterilizing takes place at about 130 degrees Celsius, and well, the battery would simply explode. So this comes in unsterilized. So if you have to change that battery, someone with sterilized fingers, sterilized gloves has to hold this part. The other person has to hold that part. And there is also a protection sheet to prevent that you touching your this part with your unsterilized finger. So inside is not a problem, but outside would be a problem, because if you touch that, everything has to be sterilized again before it goes to the operation room. Then they close that. Of course, the guy with the sterilized hands. And now it can be taken to the sterile room. Okay, so the first little detail you can see here. So that part is aluminium, the black part here. And as you can see, there is a screw that holds a small rectangular plate of hardened steel, because the bolt here goes between that hook and this plate here. And if this is only aluminium, it would wear out after, well, short time. And of course it has to deal with the full pressure of that gasket here. Oops. So you clamp that on, you close that, and you lock that in place, and now the whole pressure here is against this aluminium part, but they reinforced it with a piece of steel, so that's very nice. Never seen that amount of detail or attention to detail. Then we have a very large screw here, that's the hinge for this lever. Also nicely done, that will certainly never break. Here, two stable hinges, contacts for the battery, go to that side here, connect to these two contacts, that's minus, that's the plus pole, and yeah, it has no ventilation holes because no dirt, no blood, no liquids should go inside, so everything is sealed. That on the other hand means you can only operate it for 15 minutes, then you have to let it cool down. Let's see how it goes on. So the easiest way to take that part out is simply attach this and pull it off. So what we see now is there is another brick, power in from the battery, power out to the motor, and it's completely enclosed, no mechanical parts nowhere. It's one massive brick of resin, some kind of, and here a metal basement. Yeah. Now we need another screwdriver. That's it. Two screws holding the whole mechanism in. That's only an empty plastic shell. I would say glass fiber reinforced. Is there any label? No, I can't see one. Yeah, it's a medical device. They have other rules. They don't have to label everything. Maybe they have other labels. This means it is safe to use on a person because of the electric shock danger. It's not here, it's operating with the battery. You should not immerse it in water or in whatever. So it's more or less waterproof, but not completely. And that's the mechanism. And if you look at this, it resembles to some sort of gun again. And what's amazing, that's the button. So this button is locked. Let me unlock. That's the forward speed button, and that's just the reverse. So if you push both of them, it turns the other way, or slower, faster. And if you leave that go and use only that, it turns forward. But there is no mechanical connections. It's just here is the connection from this module here, from this brick. Goes directly to the motor. So how on earth are they switching here? Are they controlling speed, or they're switching direction? You can see, at first I thought, well, there's a switch missing because I found it in parts. So I thought maybe there is something in between, but it turned out that it works. let me see. Can try that without the case. So the battery here is also not the best anymore. I charged it overnight, but it can barely turn that thing. So let me see. Magic. See that? And reverse. So maybe you have already guessed it. These rods here are magnetic. Little magnets, both of them. And here, in this part, are magnetic sensors. I assume it's two Hall effect sensors, these little things that look like transistors with usually they have 3 legs, maybe 4, and the rest of the electronics is inside this module here. So there is no need for any mechanical switches for potentiometers that break or get rusty or whatever. Mechanical magnetic switches. How clever is that? So this entire thing, with its case of course, can be sterilized. If it gets wet, not a problem. The motor is made to withstand that. By the way, Maxon DC motor. Don't try to Google that number. You won't find anything that's specially made for this tool here. There are similar motors. And one interesting feature is these motors have an ironless rotor. So the rotor only consists of the copper winding, which is encased in a plastic material that is very strong. And there are magnets around and also in the center. And well, let me see if I can find a picture about that. And now let's see how this locking mechanism looks like. Okay, so as you can see, there is another rod here that goes through this hole here, and that has the function to lock this reverse button. So if this one is pressed, you can't press the reverse button. This means if you attach a tool that is, for example, a saw or something, you don't need to reverse because you cannot saw reverse. So this tool is locking this pin, is locking the button here, and you can only go forward. Well, I think it doesn't matter if you're sawing that way or that way, but well, they made it, and maybe there are other tools where it is even worse when you go reverse, I don't know. So that's the reverse lock. The other lock mechanism, let me see how that works. Of course, there is a lock for the power button here, so you cannot accidentally turn it on if you don't want. And you see these small wires here, these small rods that go into the cavity here. You probably can't see it, maybe yes. And how does it work? So if you turn that part here, that ring, it also turns that ring, which has this slight angle grounded here. That angle goes onto this screw here, which moves this sleeve here inside this tube. That on the other side presses down on this ring here and makes this locking wires or locking rods here disappear from inside. Let me see if we can see that. Yes, I think that's clear. Oops. And if you pull it too far, they will fall out. Okay, so that's the slot where they ride. If you push it down, they go outwards. If you push them up, they go in. So let me install them again, just not to lose them. It's easier said than done. Okay, that's completely wrong now. Come on. Yes. So I assume this is all really high strength steel here, and also stainless steel, of course, because it must be resistance against all kind of body fluids, all kind of sterilization fluids. Okay, nice mechanism. So this ring is needed to push them out. See that? Out, in, out, in. Yeah, I think you know now how this works. Well, there isn't much more about this. Yeah, I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any information about this, especially what its original price was, because I wrote in the title it's a $5,000 power drill or power tool. That's a price that I found on eBay for a used one with some accessories, okay, of course. But I think the new price would be, I think, only for this drill or this drive, maybe 5,000, maybe 10,000, I can't say, because medical equipment is always a little bit difficult when it comes to prices. It's always a secret. I assume that they make a price for every doctor or every hospital who needs it. So they have any list price or price list. Yeah. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching.